how do we empower people on digital transactions at the bottom of the pyramid. And we have two distinguished speakers today, Ranjana Pandey Panigrahi. Ranjana comes with 25 years of experience in planning, monitoring, and evaluation of human development initiatives. Amongst her varied interests are participatory research and data analysis. She is a postgraduate in psychology and has a postgraduate diploma in industrial relations and personnel management. Her major areas of work include gender mainstreaming, skill development, and strengthening of micro-entrepreneurship through individual or collective enterprise. Ranjana has been working closely with street vendors in Bhubaneswar to help them adapt to digital payment environment. We also have Professor D.V. Ramana. D.V. Ramana is a professor of accounting at Xavier Institute of Management in Bhubaneswar, and he has been that since 1989. He did his master's in commerce and an MPhil in commerce, and also a PhD in commerce. And besides teaching at XIMB Bhubaneswar, he has taught at IIM Kolkata, IIM Raipur, IIM Ranchi, SP Jain College of Global Management in Dubai, Singapore, and Sydney. He has been associated with several public and private organizations as an independent director, and he has played an active role as senior consultant in the power sector reforms in Odisha. He works with people doing business on the streets as a part of his action research. Under this project, he has taken several initiatives towards financial inclusion and digital literacy. So I'll invite both of them who are already on the screen to take over and get into the session. Thank you, Ramana and Ranjana.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hirod. I also join Hirod in welcoming Ranjana also. Okay, we both of us are from Bhubaneswar. At present, I am operating from Kolkata and Ranjana is operating from Bhubaneswar. And I'll just take 2 minutes to set the ball rolling. Then I request Ranjana to share her experience. The entire theme of this session, not only this session, but this workshop, is connecting beyond boundaries. So when we say connecting beyond boundaries, one of the ways that connection can happen is a digital connection. But before we see the digital connection, so let me also remind you that today is a World Water Day. As a World Water Day, actually water itself has divided the world. There is a digital divide, there is economic divide, there is academic divide, there is gender divide. I'm happy that NTL is conducting a workshop on connecting beyond boundaries, or in other words, removing this divide. So one of them is a digital transformation. And India has been forefront on that. Both Ranjana and myself, though we have not worked together, but we have been working on a particular issue for quite some time. So India has witnessed tremendous amount of transformation in the last 10 years in the form of digital transformation, in the form of economic transformation. I'll just give 2 sets of data. Ranjana, do you have the presentation somewhere? Or we can continue talking, wherever required we can show. So 2 data statistics I would like to explain to set the context. In 2011, 32, let this chart with there. 35% of our population were having bank accounts, whereas in 2021, that has become 77.5%, a big jump. And during this period, world has also changed, but not as much as India has changed. So when Kirod asked us to reflect on for this particular conference or workshop, we thought that why this change has happened. What is responsible for the behavioral change in people in the last 10 years that a large number of people embraced the digital world? So based on our experience, we are saying there are 5 C's behind this. 2 of them are internal drivers and 3 of them are external drivers. But these are not theories, these are based on our experience. So, and that too, the based on experience at the bottom of the pyramid. When we say bottom of the pyramid, that means people with a lower income or less than the world average income. We call them at the bottom of the pyramid. So the major
Ranjana,
reasons.
sorry, Ramana. Sorry.
Yeah,
Ranjana, can you make it slide show mode so that it is larger?
yeah, that's right. Make it a presentation mode, Ranjana.
Yeah, a presentation mode. Yeah,
So
great.
we felt that the transformation, the digital embracing has happened because of this behavioral change. But the behavioral change is because of 5 C's. We call this 5 C's. And 2 of them are internal to the person, which Ranjana will speak on. And 3 of them are external, which is our observation. So on and off, both of us will take you through, instead of theoretical underpinnings, but we blend it with our own experience in our observation. Over to you, Ranjana.
Okay, I would present a case from our, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm presenting a case study from our own experience of working with street vendors in 2 states of India, which is one is Bihar and the other one is Odisha. And here, the most important challenges that the people were facing at the initiation of the project was like COVID was there, and with lockdown and shutdown. So with the limited tourist inflow or no tourist inflow, these places were tourist destinations like the district of Puri, which has a lot of religious tourism, and the district of Gaya, where Buddhist tourism is there. So these were all they suffered because of COVID restrictions and lockdowns. And the street vendors are people who do not have backup corpus. So they are the ones who are working with a very small capital base, and whatever was with them, they had exhausted it. And with no sales or business opportunities around, they exhausted whatever money they had. So after the lockdown restrictions were taken back, they were struggling to resume the livelihoods. And in that period, when within the lockdown period also, and after that, where they were struggling to adapt to the digital platforms for payment and receipt. During COVID, the exchange of currency by use of hands, where physical distancing was, social distancing was there. So this was all a part of the challenge that they were experiencing, in accepting digital technology for payments was a big challenge. And this challenge, we say that we see 3 T's in that. One was trust deficit, that people, in our discussion with the people, we were asking them why not adapt to the technology. They were like, the government wants to track our income and bring us in the taxation bracket, or with the limited educational attainment, how easy would be for them to adapt to the technology, and the time that they had with them, what trainings they could attend, and how their capacity building could be taken up. So these were the challenges under which we were working. And the intervention that we planned was capacity building of these street vendors uh, through trainings, but training which was in a camp mode. So breaking up the bigger, longer duration training into 45-minute sessions, and running different sessions throughout the day, so that the street vendor could come in the workshop as per his or her uh, time availability, and come attend the session of their interest, and pick up content from the training, and uh, learn how to use these systems, do's and don'ts related to these transactions, and even take physical support in installing the UPIs in their mobile phones if they didn't have it, or how to get the QR codes and other things. So these workshops were very small sessions organized throughout the day for a 5-day camp, where they could just come in and go as per their availability. So um, these digital transactions that they have been able to uh, adapt to, which is I'll share the data also, the change that we have seen. This is also gives them credibility, or creates credit history to their informal businesses which they were running, and they were not managing any books of accounts for their businesses. So it also helps them gain credibility to apply for more loans, and there are government schemes that are offering such supports, financial supports to them. So to become eligible to these schemes, they need to have some formalities which these systems also help them to attain.
Yeah, Ranjana, here I would like to chip in
Yeah.
by linking. I'm sure that others might have observed the experiment of Ranjana in one of the states. Now, let me link it with our model. Can we go back to that model, Ranjana? So you can see that Ranjana's experiment has contributed to the change in the mindset. In the before COVID, people were not willing to take up the digital transactions. But during COVID, the pressure, being at home, no income. So there was a slow change in the mindset, and they started accepting that this is the only way we can connect to the larger world. Besides that, there was actually the training program which she was mentioning, that they designed in such a way that they can walk in and walk out at any time. That created a curiosity of learning. No, so if my colleague, my partner, my business partner, who is another shop owner, goes to the training room and comes back, so there is also curiosity in me to go and attend that. So therefore, what we saw that these two C's have contributed a lot. That one is at an individual level, there is a change in the mindset because of the COVID, and there is a curiosity of learning because there's an opportunity. Organizations like Ranjana's and my university started running programs. So the opportunities were there. The change in mindset was there. Curiosity of these two C's were partly responsible for bringing that change, that lots of people started adopting digitization, going towards digital technology, not only for business. Though we are talking about the business, this also helped their children to attend classes. Most of the classes, most of the schools started holding classes on digital platforms. So therefore, this two C's out of these five C's, the change in the mindset and the curiosity of learning has actually increased and improved after COVID. Then other three C's, again, I'll take up after Ranjana presents her other findings. Yeah, Ranjana.
So, as I was saying, this helped enable the entrepreneurs to do digital payments or digital transactions, receiving and giving payments, and it also involved installation of the application, the step-by-step guidance on usage of the application to them. Because again, I already mentioned about the limited educational attainment. So the trust deficit, the threat of technology, all of that needed to be tackled to help them understand the benefits and get used to the systems. and guidance in linking their different UPI apps for payments. So all of this was included as a part of the training and the continuous hand-holding support. So I already said that this training program was the innovation in the approach, which was less instructional and more embedded in the throughout the program. So the camp mode of training where beneficiaries could come in and go as per their time and pick up the elements of the training that they needed support in. Then it was split into 45-minute session. This was indeed time intensive, but more effective way of catering to the needs of the entrepreneurs. The handouts that were available or distributed or were put for display were translated in local language, in easy to understand language, so that they could just read themselves, or they were audio visual materials, so they could understand it better. And the focus of these training programs was on do's and don'ts of the usage of the technology. And besides this, for a 3-month period, there was a mentoring support available in the form of help desk in the district administration office. So whenever they needed, also in the district administration office and our office throughout the project period, where they street vendors, whenever they faced any difficulty, they could just come in and take support from the team. So as Ramana sir was saying, the 5 C's in practice that we saw was change in mindset, was tackling the trust deficit through continuous engagement and motivations, telling them, making them understand that the government was not against you trying to trace or track your income, but yours is a family enterprise, and the government should know that you are earning, you are not unemployed, or you are eligible for a loan that the government is offering, or you're eligible for the financial support that's available out there. So you need to trust the government on that. And awareness of the street vendors on the basics, like even educated people fall into trap of digital crimes. So helping them understand the do's and don'ts, the prerequisite formalities, and the checks and balances in using these systems. This was a continuous engagement with them that led to this change in the mindset. Managing competition in daily life through time management. So their time was valuable. Whatever they are earning throughout the day was to be respected, and the training sessions were flexible for them. Curiosity, sir already talked about, that the local success stories to motivate the entrepreneurs that were also circulated and shared. The peer group, the street vendor associations were a part of this motivation. Yeah. Then creating platforms for peer-to-peer interaction and a positive pressure was the community connect part of it. And collaboration opportunity was on-site mentoring of the street vendors for troubleshooting refresher knowledge on the usage of digital platform in the district administration office, as well as in our own office. So these are 5 C's in practice that we observed, and sir, you may please add on it.
That's wonderful. So can you go back to that model once again, Ranjana?
Yes.
So the model, yeah. So that I would like to add by bringing that Ranjana has taken us through the 5 C's. Let me stress on the 3 C's which are there, which are external. In her state of Bihar, she observed, we also observe. Now, because of why did people change? Why will people change? One is the change in the mindset. One is the curiosity. And as one of the participants has mentioned, COVID itself has another C, not 5C. You can say 6C. Yeah? Thank you much. I couldn't see the name. That was a good point, observation. But very interesting external pressures were also happening. What was that external pressure? The pressure positively, pressure negatively also. One is that collaboration opportunities were emerging. Collaboration opportunities in the sense, the street vendors always operate in a very small area of operation. Okay, in the city, a small part of the city. But the digital connect has helped them to observe what was happening about 20 kilometers down the line. What was happening in other city. So there was some conversation happening also. So collaboration opportunities emerged. And when collaboration opportunities emerged, not that everyone started taking it, some people started actually absorbing that, using that. That's why we call it community connection happened. So we call it that as a supply chain, the concept of supply chain, the concept of value chain, the concept of buyers chain, these are all used by large MNCs. But we said that even nano enterprises can actually use these concepts through the digital technology or digital transformation. So people came together. People came together not only discuss about the politics, not only to discuss about the society, but also to discuss about the business. So the collaboration opportunities opened up because of this. So more and more people started embracing the digital world. Very interesting thing that we have observed, I'm sure Ranjana also might have observed, that an invisible competition started picking up. If my business is growing or if his business is improving, why not my business will improve? So therefore, community connection, collaboration opportunities, and competition in day-to-day life has actually, this is not government. Government is not forced you to do that. Government only created the necessary infrastructure. Government only facilitated that. But this invisible pressures and which evolved over a period of time through the intervention of organizations like SDRCs and many individual researchers like us. So there was a possibility of digital transformation happen. So in our observation, I'm sure we will be very happy to listen to understand in your experience also. We felt that the major transformation in India, which is India has led the world and demonstrated to the world that the digital transformation is possible. Despite the fact that so many divides were there. No, there is a digital divide. There is an economic divide. There is a cultural divide. Despite that, there is a possibility of digital convergence. There is a possibility of digital transformation. And we conceptualize that because of these 5 C's. This is our observation. And this may become a theory tomorrow. But it will be wonderful to also, during your break time and all, you can elaborate that. But I want to show one small statistics. Ranjana, can you take us to that bar chart, which is an outcome of one part of the digital exercise that we have done. We said that through digital interventions, the financial literacy improves, financial inclusion improves. But I hope all of you know that Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, he says that it is important to improve the financial capability. Capability means the right ability to decide. You have money, how will you use that money? You have options, how will you use that option? All these together are called financial capability. And as per the Human Development Index and financial care, the model given by Professor Yunus, Professor Amartya Sen, we designed a local index which we call it Financial Capability Index. 1 is the maximum and 0 is the minimum, no capability. And what we saw that before all these interventions started, only 18 to 20% of the population were above 7.5. And very few people are below 7, 7% are below 0.25. So though in the process, I'm just trying to bring to your notice that digital transformation alone is not enough. Okay, along with the digital inclusion, digital transformation, the ability to decide, ability to strengthen, ability to bridge the gap between men and women. You can see the next slide. This capability index. Can you just move to the capability index? You can see there is a big difference in some cases, in some of the blocks for men and women. We have seen that in some situations, the woman's general ability of financial management is much higher than men. But within women also, if the woman is in the age of 25, less than 30, because of pressure of children at home, her knowledge, time, interest, to manage the digital technology is abysmally small. Not because she's not interested, but her circumstances were not allowing her to observe. So in the process of in what you call in the journey of digital transformation, we should not ignore other ramifications. We should also examine the impact of gender diversity. There is a need to understand the income diversity. There is a need to understand the academic diversity. Otherwise, just bridging the gap of digital divide is not going to achieve a larger object. Whatever we said about 5 Cs has helped in bringing the digital transformation. But along with the digital transformation, I'm sure Ranjana will also corroborate with me, my observation in Bhubaneswar that women are not so actively embrace the digital transformation as men. Maybe because of the pressure. Ranjana, would you like to add something on that? Did you observe anything with respect to gender on this?
Sir, in our context, both the places, access to digital transformation was more amongst women, but because of their lack of participation in decision making as such, they were not so visible. Because in India, when we have this Mission Shakti and the self-help group access to money, so that helped them get access to the technology. But since decision making was not in their hands in most of the cases, they are not so visible indeed.
That's true. And this can also be one of the issue that we will be very happy to listen to other participants to understand what is their observation on that, on digital transformation in the background of gender diversity and economic diversity. Can we go back to that model once again, ma'am?
Yeah.
So overall, our preliminary presentation to all of you is to say that India has led, has definitely taken this digitization revolution to a greater extent forward in the last 10 years, much better than the rest of the world, notwithstanding other diversities, notwithstanding other divisions. And to conceptualize as a behavioral aspect, is we felt that the mindset, the COVID, curiosity, community connections, collaboration opportunities, competition, 5+1=6, have definitely contributed to this. But as a professor, I don't force myself to pat my back because of this, because there are many other problems associated with it still remains to be addressed. As she has mentioned, the power of decision, the power of earning money and deciding. This is gender diversity is a big issue in India till now. So economic divide and gender divide is along with the digital divide is a big matter of concern for some of us. Ranjana, you would like to take it forward?
Yeah, sir, I missed one slide that we had on the data that we wanted to show, that before the project started, the usage of digital transaction by people was 6.1% or 7.3% in two areas where we had done the baseline. And after the intervention and after the hand-holding support, towards the closure of the project, the usage had gone up to 73 to 75% in both the places. And this was besides all the 5 Cs of transformation. I don't know what term we should, maybe another C was continuous mentoring and hand-holding support that was required, because the educational attainment levels are different for different category of entrepreneurs. So many more Cs that we may see in the coming discussion.
Yes, many. That's right. I think, Carol, we would like to stop here. If people would like to ask questions, we are open for that.
So people may be wondering that how does this connect to the theme of the conference, which is connecting beyond boundaries? The way I see it is, maybe that is something you could talk about.
Yeah, that's why I started with that. The theme is connecting beyond boundaries, but the boundaries are not necessarily national boundaries. The boundaries are created within the nation itself and across the nation. And we feel that the boundaries can be connected. People across the boundaries can be connected through the digital connect, through the digital transform. For example, this meeting itself, I'm able to see that people from all over the world. So we are all in different geographical areas. We are all connected only because of digital connect. We are only because of digital connect. The knowledge sharing, learning from each other is happening only because of the Zoom, because of Google, because of this technology. And what we have demonstrated that this is not just going to happen with the top of the pyramid, this can also happen at the bottom of the pyramid. This is not going to happen across the countries. This can happen within the country, within the state, within the community. So in fact, we were very happy. I was very happy when you said that we would like somebody to talk about the digital transformation for NTL. That was wonderful. So for me, of course, connecting beyond boundaries is possible only through digital world now. There's no
And
other alternative.
not only amongst the educated and the elite, but also those who are uneducated and in the most bottom layer of the pyramid, right?
That's right. A,
Thank you.
a poor lady selling a vegetable in or some painting in remote part of Orissa. Now she can have a customer in Egypt, or she can have a customer in Sydney or Dubai. It's only because of digital transformation. And we will be, both Ranjana and myself, will be very happy if the street vendors of Bhubaneswar connected to street vendors of New York or connected to the street vendors of Sydney, which we are trying to do that. That would be great. I hope I have
Thank
answered
you,
your
Professor
question,
Ramana.
Kilo.
Yeah. And thank you, Ranjana. If you take down the slides, then you will
Yeah.
be able to see everybody and we'll see who raises hands. So people with questions, please raise your hand.
If any.
I don't mean a physical hand, but use the feature
Yes.
in your
Yeah,
reactions.
Shelly has
Yeah.
raised
Sorry.
hand.
Thank you. I don't really have a.
Shelly,
Oh, am I on mute? No, I'm not
Yeah.
on mute. Can you hear me? Yeah.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
Shelly, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I'm sharing a reflection. I wasn't here at the beginning, so apologies for that. I really want to appreciate this research that you are sharing with us, and it's live research in my view, because it's so current. It's live research, and that's what I like about it. It isn't from past eras, it is very much of the current era. And I'm an educator myself, and I see my work as an educator as a liberationist activity. And what I'm loving about what you're saying about the digitalization possibilities that cuts across class, color, gender, and all other social identity groups can also be used as a liberationist activity, as a way forward. So that I find that incredibly encouraging. And the last comment of a street vendor here connecting with a street vendor here, anything that kind of breaks down multinational power, that kind of really diminishes the common people, if I put it that way, is kind of warming to me. So I wanted to just share that with you. And thank you for telling me this story, because as an educator, I fully intend to repeat it somewhere.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. Thank you, Shelly. That is quite encouraging. One of my friends and a mentor told me that the economic power of the street vendors world can be brought together if the street vendors of the world come together. Okay, so it is possible. The power of man on the street, woman on the street is absolutely, and with technology, great. No, otherwise it was not possible. Today with technology, it is possible to bridge the gap between a person operating in New York and India or Delhi or Bombay. And where are you, by the way, Shelly? You're from?
Heritage-wise, I'm from Bangladesh, but have been in the UK for many decades.
Oh, that's wonderful. In fact, I got attracted to the business on the micro business. My interest in micro business is attributed to Bangladesh. You know why? Professor Mohammed Yunus.
Yes, yes.
I spent 45.
I thought you were going to say that.
I spent 45 days in Chittagong.
Marvelous.
So I was there and interacted with villagers and bottom of the pyramid banking.
And just to build on that, it just shows the value of microfinancing and micro digitization possibilities and how that then builds into the system perspective.
That's true. That's true. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
Shall we go to Lennox?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very, very much for the presentation. I just wanted to share a reflection because I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, I started attending presentations of this nature, where people essentially were doing a presentation on, at that point in time, it was called the informal economy. And that was out of South Africa. And I remember initially my caution, my hesitation, my irritation about why it is that people were bringing these kinds of conversations to me in the behavioral sciences and in OD. And over the years, what I've realized that this is so out of the paradigm we use to look at organizations that not being willing to engage with this topic is part of our arrogance around economies and understanding the whole notion of the economic power of oppression, which, for instance, the great work by Eric Williams, Capitalism and Slavery, talks about slavery and the capitalistic, the economy that undergirded slavery. What I'm trying to say is that hearing it now, I have such an appreciation for not only the informal economies and for understanding the connection of economy and politics, but also I remember Ted's, and I know you all probably weren't here for the first presentation, Ted's question to Chandran in the earlier thing about what is the alternate? What is the alternative thinking, not thinking Western and that sort of stuff? And the alternate is that there is a place that we need to be looking for the future as behavioral scientists that is outside the realm of where we currently look. We are currently looking within our own paradigms for answers to questions that cannot be answered anymore within our paradigms. So the whole notion of informal economy and collaboration, and the fact that women are the creators of wealth in societies is important for us to recognize. And I suspect some of my colleagues on this conference today are probably in the place where I might have been 2 or 3 years ago. So I think I want to urge you all to kind of hang in there to understand what is happening here and the shift that needs to take place. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lennox. Thank you very much. What do you do, Lennox? I couldn't get your professional affiliation.
Well, a lot of my work has been with the World Bank, in both in post-conflict places and in emerging economies, and organization development related to that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm retired, supposedly.
That's true. Thank you. Anyone else? Keynote?
Hi. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. So first of all, Linus, you're never retired. Yeah. So I think it was very thought-provoking. What came to mind was that it is very easy to take for granted what has already happened. But if we were to stop and contemplate and think about it, we realize that everything that's happening in the world today, it is interdisciplinary. You cannot just do science and not biology. You cannot do medical without psychology or sociology, right? So unless you open up your perspective and start to learn about different aspects of the different fields of studies, if you just focus on the silo mentality, it's very difficult to get out of your constraint, right? So I think what you have demonstrated to us is that when we look at something as hard as technology, it is really also related to psychology, how in behavioral science. So I think we all know that technology adoption is a very complex phenomenon. There are a lot of extrinsic drivers, factors contributing to by true differences in demographics, as what you have shown. I'm really curious about how much of it is also coming from an intrinsic, even our internal developmental journey, how our worldviews are formed, how we see our roles in this world, how that impacts our tendency to resist or even to embrace change, right? So I think it is a very complex area. So just want to hear your views about that.
Yeah, that's true. I think, first of all, as you rightly mentioned, unless we are open for ideas from other branches, our own knowledge will not grow. In fact, just to give you a perspective, when Kirot contacted me, I'm not an OB person. I'm not an OB person. I'm not even a psychology person. Ranjana is a psychologist. I'm trained accountant. So I say that I talk to numbers. I listen to the numbers. For me, without numbers, my life is not there. But after interacting with people with operation, with OB, psychology, anthropology, sociology, I started understanding the numbers better. Now I'm saying that every number has an ability to tell you a story. But the art of telling story is not taught to accountant. I borrowed it from OB. I borrowed it from English literature people, language people, so anthropology people. So therefore, I agree. That is one of the reasons that we also want to attend this type of programs to understand and enrich our own subject. Otherwise, our subject will remain closed. I don't have complete answers for your question, but from my personal journey, I attribute my growth to interacting with people from other branches of knowledge. That's the way I have grown. I am sure that others will also agree that in the process, am I compromising on accounting? Or that's up to me to answer myself. There is a pressure on me to keep in touch with the latest developments in accounting, but also to understand what is happening in the rest of the world. And that is what made me to accept this invitation and listen to all of you, understand, learning from all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, EK. Jimmy?
Yes, first of all, Ranjana and Raman, thank you very much for this research presentation. And I think it's people coming from this part of the world have experienced what it is, and you have done a wonderful job of showing how digital world has helped the bottom pyramid. Having said that, I come from a sociological background and still a member of ISAPS, the process work in India. And a couple of things, it's not a question, but a kind of a different perspective. Number one, and you have mentioned it, to be fair to both of you, that there is a negative side to digital world and what it has done in this part of the world. But my point is not to talk much about it. But to me, when you look at technology and process work, also a lot of work is being done through the digital world, like you have laboratories conducted online on Zoom. What I want to say is this technology, both the producer of technology and the users of technology are not value free. They have values. Now, these values in process work or people who are are engaged in applied behavioral sciences, beliefs and values are very important. So I think as a social researcher, I also like to go below the behavior. Behavior is a presentation of my belief and my values. So and to me, using technology is part of the behavior, but there is a belief and value system. So that's number point one. Second thing, I have seen how this technology is developed in some sector and not in other sector. I come from Gujarat. People think that it is a highly developed state in India, but some parts where the bottom pyramid exists, development has not come so much. I have been there in some of the areas doing research on migration, and I have noticed that the towers, the receptive towers or signals in those villages where the tribals exist are not as many as you see in big cities. So number one, and therefore there is a monopoly of one particular supplier here in India, and that monopoly has come through this person. So you see how monopoly also is also promoted by technology, initially given free of cost, and later on the price goes up. So technology, again I say, by whom it is used, by whom it is produced, and why, what is the benefit behind. So you have, I think, highlighted benefit on the part of the poor. I think is welcome. But I think people in applied behavioral sciences also have to see how this is also used by others to capture power and capture wealth. Thank you very much.
Oh, wonderful. That's right. I fully agree. I think, Ranjana, if you want to add, you can also add to every question. But Jimmy, I think it's absolutely very well taken point. I agree that it creates monopoly. Creating monopoly by setting up a new plant is extremely difficult, but creating monopoly through technology is very easy. No, they are there in our bedrooms. They are there in our drawing rooms. They are there everywhere. I agree with you on that. I think we have to be careful.
Just one comment. The public provider BSNL has gone down, but a private, those who are from this part of the world know
that's right.
What do you call that? Has private come up. Yeah, Geo has come up using public resources. To that's put it very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
But to the end user, the people in the bottom layer of the pyramid, for their benefit, as far as it was required, at least they could earn and they could get cheap internet in those times. So it was beneficial to them, and our interest was in that enabling that social change initiative. So I think we had some success there.
Absolutely. But we cannot be blind to what the reality is. I think I fully agree with you. I think we have to be careful. The invisible pressures and powers of larger corporations. When I think there is a classic book which is called When Corporations Rule the World. When the corporations rule the world, and that too now corporations rule with this digital technology, it is dangerous. I also agree with you. So we have to be careful. Bodies like NTL, individuals like us, academicians, researchers, we have to be alert and keep on educating people. Okay, free today is not free forever, and in fact, nothing is free. Nothing is free. Everything has a cost. I agree. Elvin, I think you had a question. Elvin, you raised your hand a few minutes back.
Sure, yeah, and maybe the issue's already come up and and that's why I lowered my hand again. I did feel inclined to pick up the gauntlet that Lennox put out there. I had this question of and maybe this goes back to the discussion now, but I had this question of what is the benefit to a street vendor in India to have a client in Sydney, or to be connected with a street vendor in
London.
the Middle East, wherever it is, right? So
Okay.
and if we are, and are we making assumptions if we're going to say that that is a better form of life rather than being a community of basket weavers in the middle of Thailand somewhere, sustaining ourselves with what nature gives us, for example, and enjoying life together in that local community. And so I see a juxtaposition between the empowerment that digitization can give here to marginalized groups like that, what street vendors potentially are. So it's very easy to reach up and say, this is something that gives me a bit better material life. But it's a juxtaposition maybe with some of the themes brought up in the first presentation, which it sort of warned about the dangers of globalization and the downsides of globalization. So I'm still sort of sitting here with that question. And I'm not sure if it's a question to be answered right now, but.
Okay, that's very, very valid question. I think this question, in fact, in your question itself, there is an answer. I'll put it in this way. I see the street vendors of the world coming together, globalization through street vendors versus globalization through multinationals. I would prefer globalization through the street vendors. So, which I say that, globalization through the masses rather than globalization with a minimum small number of organizations. It's any day better than the larger company dominating the world. Number one. Number two, your first question is absolutely relevant for our research also. What will be the benefit of a street vendor in Bhubaneswar having connection with a person in Sydney? Let me answer that with one small example. That a street vendor in Bhubaneswar, part of Bhubaneswar, has a limited amount of income because his reach is only about 200, 300 customers around. So he cannot think big. He cannot think of increasing his income. So, but he has a core competency, which may be a person sitting in London or sitting in Cairo may be interested to buy that. Now he's not able to sell it because there are no channels. Now with technology, it is possible to sell this product to a person sitting in your country. So there is a possibility of doubling or tripling of income without compromising the connection with the locality. So and understanding, learning, So he is now happy that someone in London is also a street vendor. I'm also a street vendor of India, talking to street vendor in Sydney, talking to street vendor so a community feeling comes up. Okay, so the way professionals come together, the way we all come together, there can be an NTL. I hope Shirod will do one day that exclusive conversation with the street vendors of the world. That's my dream. Hope NTL will fulfill our. So that's the only answer now, but I think it's a very important question for us to reflect. Elvin, if you permit, I will take your address and we will keep on. Such questions only further strengthen our research.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. There are no street vendors on this call right now, are there? So we can't voice, can we? Well, although they're digitalized. So yeah. In that sort of like, what is the local experience of someone like that, and what is positive for them? I don't want to deny that it's possible that it is, obviously. I'm just cautious
Elvin,
about them.
Elvin, which part of the world you're from?
It's sorry, I hesitate. I'm from Japan. I'm also from the Netherlands.
Oh, that's good.
I really have a need to just say one quick thing here. There might not be any street vendors on this conference today. There are children and grandchildren of street vendors. Thank you.
That's
Thank
good.
you, Lennox. That was great.
That was
Deet.
wonderful.
Just one more
Can we
question.
hear from Deet?
Deet.
Yeah.
To dovetail the conversation about what is the benefit for street vendors, if you get a chance, if you go on YouTube, you'll be able to find street vendors who have been elevated by social media influencers and find their street vending increased population from individuals who want to see or taste the product that they're producing. They become somewhat of celebrities. So what you end up with is social media and these long distance connections, allowing for marketing campaigns that may not be led by the street vendor, but do support the vendor's overall economic welfare. And there are plenty of use cases out there of street vendors who have become points of destination for destination travelers, whether in Thailand or in South Asia. So just to respond to Elvin's question, I think it's not just about making contact with other street vendors. It's about how you promote your business, how you market your product, and how you develop a brand.
Wonderful. Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. That was you helped us. Kirol, over to you.
Yeah. So I think people have got a taste of what you were saying. And I want to emphasize the point that this was a digital initiative. It was something which enabled people to go beyond their boundaries, beyond their, limited market, and could expand their market to a different way. They became credit worthy. They could access loans and other benefits from the government. So I'm sure there are other such experiences amongst the audience here, where people have experienced such disruptive technologies, where they have brought about a sea change in the way people work. So I thought it would be a good idea for people to share those and maybe do it in a breakout room. If you could share the questions.
Questions are with you, right, Kirol?
Questions are you put in the
There were two in the slide.
presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. So people can get into breakouts. We're saying 4 to 5 people maybe, and see what kind of disruptive interventions have they experienced, and what was their learning from that. Okay. So we are now at 6:25. So maybe give it about 15 minutes and we can then have a little plenary where people can talk about their experience.
Yeah.
So Lauren, would you put them into breakouts, 5 people each? What happened?
My presentation. Okay.
Breakout rooms have closed.
That's great. Ranjana, are you back?
Yeah, Ranjana is here.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Welcome back.
So please take it from here, or you want me to say something?
Yeah, I think you should. You set the ball rolling, Kirol.
So I'm sure all of you have had some fruitful or dynamic discussions in the breakout rooms. So maybe some of the things that we could do now in the next 8 minutes is to share what struck you, what has remained with you. And if you have some questions, I'm sure our presenters would be glad to answer.
Thank you. So how did that conversation in your group happen? Anything special? Anything worth sharing with us? Any group can volunteer? You have to unmute yourself and speak.
Diana, yeah.
Yes.
So a comment in our group, Ramana and Ranjana, was how we had a sense of the intervention that you were talking about being a kind of adaptation and accommodation to the existing system, and how different that was from what we heard in the earlier presentation from Chandran, where he was at a meta or a meta level, maybe, challenging the whole system and how it is changing because of the demographics changing on the planet and certain other factors, and how we, and by we I mean someone like me, a US white, socialized in the white West, socialized and educated in the white Western model, consumerist, capitalist mindset, etc., are really needing to change the mindsets in the system at this point. So I know I'm not expressing it very articulately, but there, in our small group, we just, after sharing a bit, we just came to a point of saying, gee, the two presentations felt really different in terms of type of intervention and level of intervention, if that makes sense. In fact, the way we ended up, what we were saying that Chandran's presentation itself was a disruptive intervention on the whole system. We talked about others as well, including the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and how that affected the trajectory of that World War conflict. So yeah, we were pretty far-reaching. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for listening.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think that's a very nice way of combining two presentations. Thank you very much. It's great.
I was with some other brilliant thinkers. That's all I can say.
Okay, that modesty, wonderful. That's the power of people, you know. That's the power of common people.
So we have Shakira with her hand up.
Shakira.
Hi, good morning. I don't know how useful this observation is, but I'll share it anyway. Maybe it'll trigger something better. It occurred to me as I was listening to the people in my small group share, the importance of knowledge and information being distributed by way of communication, whether on the internet or even in person. I guess what I'm saying is the intervention, whether it's good or bad, depends in part on how the information is shared, I think. Like in one case, the communication that was available in a course that was taught online in two different locations. One course went very well and one course went very poorly, though they were teaching the same thing. And in another case, my own, the communication was spread kind of far and wide. In other words, the success of the intervention depended on the information being shared first by word of mouth, because this was really kind of before the days of the internet, sharing a lot of information, very, very widely, but kind of word of mouth. But the more that the information spread, the more potent the intervention became. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's just something I saw.
That's right. It depends on how information, good or bad, depends on how information is shared. That's very powerful message, Shakira. And for a teacher, this is all the more important. There's nothing called good or bad. How I share that is very, very important. Thank you very much.
Kirpal.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, my name is Kirpal, and
Okay.
I have 2 points to make. One is that any AI tools are evolving; they are yet to mature. That's one point. Second is there may be some fear that it will take over my creative thinking, whatever. But I don't believe in that. Ultimately, I have the power, and I can use any AI tool or any such support system the way I want to use it, creatively and to the best of my knowledge, belief, and also for the benefit of world at large.
Yeah.
So that's the point I wanted to make.
Absolutely right. That's great. Any technology by default is a means to the end, not the end by itself.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kirpal.
How we are using this technology, we are brought today together. How many people? I think around 80 people from the world over, at different time frames, different time zone. The AI tools
Different
have
views.
brought us together.
That's right. Without any strings attached.
Yes.
That's
great
very
listening
important.
to you both.
Thank you.
That's right. Thank you very much.
So if there is no more questions, then we are at the end of time for this session.
Yeah.
We can
only one word I would like to
anything.
say.
Yeah.
One line. Both based on the questions which have come in during our presentation and now, the technology, whether it is digital financial world or any other, as AI, as Kripal has mentioned, in our understanding, will lead towards decentralized capitalism.
Yeah.
Versus centralized capitalism. Capitalism is good or bad, we are not getting into it. There is a business is needed. Decentralized capitalism is possible when the nano business, small business are all connected through technology. So I am a big supporter of decentralized capitalism. I'm not against capitalism, but decentralized capitalism is what technology can do. That's my final thought on this.
Very good, sir.
Now, would you like to say?
Is your article available on net, ma'am? Anything you have written on? Any article available on the net?
No.
No, but we have some sites. You please send a mail. I will share our links. You can go through that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ranjana, anything you want to say?
It was wonderful listening in the first session. I was a participant, and it was wonderful listening to other people as a part of the groups also, and sharing with you all was also a good experience. And I look forward to more such events and participation.
So thank you both for being with us and talking to us. And we'll close with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.